So, talking about people who've done it, and is your data center cloud ready? I'd actually like to turn things over to Aamer, if you could. Actually taking a look at how do we get our data center cloud ready. And after a presentation like that, boy, that's tough. We're not hearing from the end user. So, let's turn it over to Aamer, take a look at data center getting ready. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. I would like to say thank you to the audience who are still here available. And also I would like to thank Mohammed because that was my presentation basically. So I think I have nothing to say, just what you have just saw, that was my presentation. By saying that, of course, because there are so many slides, what I saw that was somehow it was relevant, and some of the ideas he has touched which I would like to say. Next time, I think organizers, they need to bring the presentation and they need to align so that there is no overlapping of topics. So I would like to welcome all of you, and I have to say the same what Muhammad has said in his own way. Cloud is not just about the technology, but it is about the economic benefits. So we are talking about the benefit. It is less about the technology, it is more about the benefit. Also, I would like to say something about little history. There was a guy called Douglas Parkhill in 1966. He came up with a utility-based cloud computing, and what today we call as a cloud computing as a name, that was mentioned in his book back 1966. He was saying when you use the service, you pay for the service what you use. That was there. So basically the cloud computing concept has been arrived since that time. Okay, where is this one? Okay. As you can see, this is the agenda. So I will maybe I will skip some of the slides over here. Cloud capabilities, consumerization. Basically, the more focus is on the consumerization rather than the IT. And so on I have. So maybe I will leave some of the slides, and some of the slides I will try to focus more on that. Okay. So these things you just saw: infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, software as a service, and this is the cloud computing services. And this is the cloud capability what we are talking about, this particular. However, from the consumerization side, we are talking about security, data privacy, and we are talking about delivery and operations and interoperability and integration. So these are the things. You call as a self-service provisioning or whatever you call. So, but it is about alignment and it is about integration. And this is the typical the hardware infrastructure what you see in the data center all the time. This is the core fundamental stuff, routers, switches, LANs, and all of this stuff. And since my session is the last, I think you have been through this. And this is the user part where we are focusing on the application integration, and we are talking about self-service provisioning and the reporting tools, analytical tools, things like that. So by saying that, I would like to basically present something else. So this is also, it is gone. So I'll just say this before we start thinking about the cloud, basically we are talking about the assessment. We have to go to the data center and we have to do the assessment. What do we have? And then once we know what we have, then we will see what can be standardized. So we have to see what things we have in common. If you have an applications which requires an application server, so those applications we need to see what database it has. Maybe there is a variance in different database, so we need to see how we can club together, how we can unify, and how we can standardize, what type of technologies, what type of protocols, what type of languages, things like that we have to do. And again, then we will consolidate. So once we do the consolidation, before that we have to standardize. So you are consolidating the database, you are consolidating the application servers, you are consolidating different applications, things like that. And even if you have a lot of hardware devices available, you have to see nowadays Cisco and other vendors, they have different products where you can flatten the hardware layer and have the logical layer available, where you can manage and where you can administer those equipments, those applications, those licenses, things like that. So we pay less licensing, we have less hardware infrastructure, things like that. And then we have to move to the virtualization. Some of the slides what I saw that they talk virtualization before then the standardization or consolidation. Virtualization, yes, it should be done. Later, post to your alignment, first you have to align what do you have. Like I have a data center, I have different applications, I have to see how our applications are geographically scattered across the different regions. So we need to see and we need to plan and we need to see what are the capabilities we have and what are the services we can outsource. Like some of the gentlemen, they were giving the Google Apps. Yes, Google Apps is one of the good example in terms of email communication. We don't need to really bother to host that email infrastructure into our premises. Maybe there are things we can just offload from our existing data center, and we see and we focus more on the real core business and the real business critical applications. And then we are talking about automation, and it's like integration where you can have self-provisioning, where you can have the service available to the user. And then it's like alignment and integration. So however, this slide. So this slide basically I love to spend maybe a minute over here. As you can see, the upside, I said data center and its cleanup. So as a data center, yes, and as a data center, we have the hardware, we have the software, communications, UPS, protocols, different licenses, and every individual resource, he has his own skill set. So he loves to develop that particular application based on his skill set, based on his knowledge, based on his prior experience, and things like that. So we need to look into that, and we need to see what are the resources we have from the people side, and what are the hardware resources, what are the software resources, what are the licenses. All of that we need to have a inventory for this particular thing. And then we have to see how we can reduce, and we have to have like a challenging thoughts like, do I really need this particular box? There are the data centers, I have in the region, I have more than 2 decades of experience. We have seen there are in data center, there are plenty of hardware devices and peripherals. They have been working and no one has another thought, how can I remove? And they have been paying plenty of amount in terms of SLAs and in terms of supporting and having contracts for those obsolete hardwares, things like that. So our actually thoughts from data center centric to the cloud centric, we have to focus that way. Every individual device or inventory what you see, we have to see how I can move this particular to the cloud. Again, cloud is not about the technology, it is about doing things more systematically. It is about getting more benefit. It is about. It is not just about moving from the capex to the opex. Yes, the capex, I think it will reduce dramatically, and you will pay maybe a little bit higher in the opex. But again, it depends from the customer to customer and based on your needs. The last, as you can see over here, what I say. Basically, when you want to access a cloud is nothing but where you have all your IT services. It's been hosted centrally in a borderless data center where you know that the service will be up and running, where all the services are integrated, where they are unified, where they are clubbed together. So basically, when we are talking about like a economic benefit, yes, there is economic benefit, but how the economic benefit can be achieved? Yes, by consolidating the licenses, by removing old junk hardware and putting on a new boxes. Nowadays, Dell, HP, and IBM, and so many other vendors, they are coming up with a cloud ready series or families of hardware where each server can host more than 20 servers, those kind of things. So we can flatten our infrastructure, we can flatten the network devices, and we can have a better manageability, because you have to think virtually. There is nothing called physical, you manage virtually, and virtual management will be reflected on the physical management of those. And there are three things I always say. There are three things in the world which has really dramatized. One is the mobile, which you call mobile computing, and the other one is the broadband, and the third thing is the internet itself. And these three things actually has dramatized the whole world. Before when we say mobile computing, we think only about the laptop or something which can move around and where you can have your services handy, and even with the exchange and with the different the new editions of softwares they provide, like you can from one forest to the other forest you can move. There is no need of for a user or a business user to fill up a form, and he has to request for transfer of requests from the Active Directory point of view and from different side. Now with the mobile, the iPhone, what you see today, this iPhone actually it's not just an iPhone what I see. Steve Jobs has really seen this so many years before, and all his innovations he tried to embed into that small device. And his vision was how he can allow that particular device to have the business potentiality. Even I used to work before 8 years as an e-commerce manager, and we used to have called m-commerce, and that time yes I used to sell, and there are so many gurus of ITs, and they used to say yes, m-commerce it is gonna succeed. But however, everybody used to have one question in their mind, that how come this particular small screen will really replace the big laptops or the big screens, because that time the trend was having big screens. That was like, which will really allow a user or an individual to really work more effectively, and it will be more clearly visible. But with the iPhone, with the retina display, this is your camera, this is your audio, this is audio player, and it is audio recorder. It's like a device of innovation. I was discussing with one of the gentlemen today that even for the e-healthcare, maybe with the Steve himself, I was talking about the e-healthcare. E-healthcare is also one of the potential market where the humanity can be served, where the humanity can be really benefit from out of the technology. Whatever we do, no matter how good we have an IT, we talk about the business, but basically the IT has to first serve to the humanity and then to the business. So there are some innovators. I know one of the innovator. He's from Russia, and his name is Rustom, I think. And he has innovated a device which is like also as an add-on to the iPhone, MQ he call. There are certain diseases which will be solved by using that particular device. So what we are saying, basically, this iPhone is not iPhone or any mobile device. It is not just a telecommunication where instead of having the landline phone or a handheld phone, it has really dramatized the world. So this is about the mobile computing. Even your tablet PCs or tablets or iPad or Samsung Galaxy, whatever you call, these are the mobile computing. It has dramatized. And the second major component for this to be complemented was the broadband. Because if you don't have the proper bandwidth, you are talking about nothing. You are not talking about the cloud. You are not talking about anything. And even there are certain countries, not countries I should say, but I can say some of the locations within country, they are still struggling to have a stable connectivity. So forget about the bandwidth. So those kind of things has to be there before we actually try to unleash the potentiality of the cloud computing. And the third thing, of course, the Facebook, the social media factors, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and so on. There are so many. Audio has really came up, and video, and the people, they know the platform, how they can share the information, things like that. So these three things has really dramatized. Now coming back to this particular slide, basically this particular slide, what I am trying to say, before we talk about the technology, before we talk about the business benefit, we have to first align what do we have. Whether it is data center or whether it is the processes what you have in place, things like that. So first we have to align what do we have. So before we align, we need to know what we have so that we can take an appropriate actions. We don't need to reinvent the wheel. However, there is another slide I will come and I will talk more on that particular thing. So here I was just trying to say we need to, the change. The change is the main factor. The change, IT is really dramatizing the world to something called change. The change comes from the focus for a business, where your business is focusing, and there are internal influencers which will really push an organization for a change, and there are external factors also for a change to happen. And I was saying, and this is my pet example actually, maybe I will cover again in the other slide. Okay, this slide I will take a little bit time on this particular slide. As you can see, the computing engine, which is nothing but we are talking about our data center. This is the real data center where you have mainframes, you have servers, you have storage, you have network, microprocessors, and so on. If I recall correctly, before 20 years, we were in the mainframe, and there was all the processing, everything used to happen at a central place, where a very big and giant data center, where we used to have RISC processors from Sun Microsystems and things like that. And there are a small company, they used to have AS400 with a lot of processing, and there are dump terminals. The dump terminal, his job just to have the connectivity and to provide like a simulated or an emulated screen where you can see. And the same thing is back. And with regards to the fashion, you say, the old thing used to come back. The old fashion, again it comes back. And I think the same trend is happening with regards to the IT. Even IT, it is coming back. We are talking about the same mainframe age, where you say, you just need a few data centers across the world, and you just need a handheld, or maybe it could be an embedded system, which will allow you to access your cloud, and which will allow you to fetch all the services, which will allow you to fetch your data, things like that. And there is a statistical information. I don't remember actually the actual figure, but what I know that the embedded systems, they are more than double what we have as a computing devices at the moment as of today. Embedded systems, which is part of your BMW, which is part of so many other stuff which we are using. All their routing, a software which is installed in a specific device or in a peripheral or in an instrument which it calls itself. And that's an embedded device. And that embedded device is, so all the softwares, and there are special SDKs, whether you talk about Microsoft, you talk about Java technologies, yes, there are SDKs where you can use, and you can even have those routines to be programmed, and you can push it. And when you push it, yes, that way it becomes like a computing device. It's like your own, PC, desktop, laptop, mobile device, or whatever. And these embedded systems has the capability, since you are programming, it has the capability to connect to the cloud or to whatever. I love to give some of the examples basically, and I used to be a great fan of Microsoft a few years before. Still I am a fan. I know a lot of Microsoft products. But at the moment, Google, they have really dramatized by providing some of their innovative thoughts, whether you talk about smart home, where you have a home, all your electrical appliances, they can be connected to the internet. And this is one of my thought actually. Even there was a smart car they have recently displayed, where you can program and you can put all the software layer, or you can say middleware, or you say the firmware, whatever you call. They are smart enough. And even it has the capability to connect to the cloud or to connect to somewhere where you don't know the location. Whenever I am saying cloud, you think it's like a borderless, it's a data center, or it's like a group of services which are being hosted, which are being integrated, which are available as a part of one platform, and they are up and running all the time. And it is the vendor's cloud solution provider responsibility to make sure that the service is up and running and the service is available and so on. Mohammed, he tried to elaborate a little bit on the SLA part. I have one small story actually. Most of the companies, even I used to have one instance where we used to have one customer, and that customer, he always get 100% compliance report for all the services which is being provided by the service provider. And the business were unhappy, but the reports were always 100% compliance reports. So, and one time one of the CIO, he said, you see, this is what we have, and it was not CIO, it was a business manager. He said, we have the 100% compliance, but you see, these are the calls which are open, and these calls were never been resolved. And those calls will be taken as a pending calls, and whatever the calls has been closed, that will be considered as, it will be counted towards the compliance and not compliance. How the SLA was designed? There is service 1, there is service 2 from the service catalog, and for a change request, it will go as a project. Any change you request as a business, that will be considered as a change request, and that will go as a project. So project has nothing to do with the compliance. So all the change request has gone. Now, the known problem has been categorized into 3 categories. One category where the company is fully impacted, where the business is stopped. That's the severity 1. So severity 1 means it is 1 day. If the whole server is down, the server is crashed, the hardware is down, the whole data center is down, that time it's like 1 day. And there is a category 2, 3 and 4. So I'll just try, for the sake of clear explanation, I'll just say category 2 and 3 as one category. And the second category, it is a reactive. If any problem comes and that is impacting a single branch or a single user, so that has a low priority. And believe me, 80 to 90% of the calls will go in this particular category. And they have 14 days resolution time with a 2 days response time. And whatever the problem is not solved within those 14 days, that will be sent as a pending call. And that will never be counted as a part of the SLA. So when you are designing an SLA, when you are drafting an SLA, you need to be smart enough that the SLA has to be carefully drafted. This is about the SLA. So what I am saying here in this particular slide, the cloud computing, this is the cloud computing side, and if you want to transform, the mainframe will be transformed to the infrastructure services, which is happening today. The servers will remain servers, storage will remain storage, network will remain network. And from the processing layer point of view, application servers today should be changed to the mobile application server, where current application server, no matter where I am, I should be able to deliver this as a service for all my vendors as and when it is required. So I don't need really to have a dedicated server which is irrespective of the load. It is always delivering as a role as an application server. System management infrastructure is becoming a virtual management infrastructure. Database will remain database. Operating system become like unified system. By saying unified system, I mean to say we have operating system. So when you want to go to a cloud provider, he will say what operating system you want, what virtual servers you want to host, what applications you have. No, we need to have a one unified operating system where I can host my .NET applications, I can host my Java based applications, I can host all kind of applications, Delphi applications, things like that. So the downside layer, whether you call Java virtual machine or JRE, you call Java runtime environment, or Microsoft runtime environment, which is .NET framework runtime environment, or whatever. So it should be clubbed together. In order for them to club, they need to come together. Business layer. Consultancy services will remain consultancy services when you want to transform to the cloud. Desktop environment will become mobile client. No matter whether you talk about desktop as a service, or you, even recently I saw one of the company from US, just they have a small, like, it's like iPhone device, and that provides like an emulator. It access your data center where your desktop instance is there, and you can do whatever. It is like a terminal service, you can say. Maybe they were using Citrix MetaFrame. So transaction applications has to become user-centric applications. Basically, if you see before, most of the customers, they used to say, we have implemented SAP, we have implemented Oracle Financials or something like that, CRM, Sibyl, things like that. And we have to send our users for the training. But now, the thoughts has become like opposite. We have to, the cloud service provider has to think from the user-centric point of view. The application has to be designed in a way, or that it should be user-enriched experience, where you take a business user experience and put it in your application and take it backward. So your transactional database or your tables, everything has to accommodate as per the user experience, not the other way around. BI, yes, even today, not many companies, they have the BI tool in place, where you can see what is the profitability for each branch, what is the profitability at the company level, what is the profitability at the product level, things like that. But with the cloud computing, we need a tool which can really compute all those BI stuff on the real time. I need to make the decision right now. And there are only few companies, I believe, when they have a board meetings, they will really go for the BI tool where they run those reports, and that report will take like some time. If it is not properly designed, it will take hours and so much time. So we need to have that kind of thing. So document based, and this is, I will skip. I was just saying, these are the challenges we are talking about. So I was saying, and to 2 to 3 gentlemen, yes, cloud is not just about the technology, it is more about the economic benefit, it is more about the agility, it is more about scalability, it is more about paying as you need the service, and the real benefit you will get from the cloud when you go for the multi-tenancy. And that's the ultimate benefit. But however, based on the priorities of your organization, based on the size of your organization, yes, you can customize your priorities and you can go what you like. So same action at different places. One place you are complying, another place you are conflicting with the law. I was giving an example to Mr. Steve and to other couple of gentlemen. In Saudi Arabia and maybe in I don't know, across the region, if a woman doesn't wear a hijab, she is like violating the law in the public place. But at the same action, if she do it in US or I don't know, I mean France, this is what I know, she's actually violating the law. So we have to, so these are the challenges. So these challenges, what I put over here, this is not just, it can be mitigated by using the technology vendor. It is about the government, it is about the businesses, it is about the consumers. So we are talking about the privacy, we are talking about the security, and there is a little difference between the privacy and security. Yes, Sometimes the privacy is like a subset of security, but security doesn't mean the privacy, all the time. We are talking about, you have a data center which is fully secure, where no one can penetrate, but at the same time, the data should be accessible to the one who is authorized to access. And that's the privacy part we are talking about. And agility, scalability, and resilience. And when you have more security, of course, the performance will be compromised. Those kind of things which are there. Multi-tenancy. Here, this is the thing. What I am actually saying, innovators, researchers, scientists, and the like-minded people has to come closer, and they should put up their thoughts from the technical side, from the legal point of view, and from different sides, and come up with a common platform, what need to be done. So these are the challenges basically. Standardization and globalization of cloud computing. Yes, we have to standardize the cloud, and it has to be globalized. So globalization has to be not at the cost of the localization. Yes, the concept is globalized, but there is what you call there is a regional or what I say, like a traditional way of doing things. In our last event, somebody asked with the Google, yes, I think your service is great, but can you tell me where is my data will be located? He said, no, that's not the cloud computing. Borderless, and where you don't know, but we will make sure to comply with the SLA what will be given. So 99 point, all those nines and whatever, this is our responsibility. They said, no, we need to know the location of the data. Yes, we want to reap up all the benefit, we want to take the benefit from the cloud, flexibility, agility and so on, but not at the cost of the localization. So they want to have that option as well, and that's the regional tendency. And the service-oriented architecture, and this is something I will tell you later about this. I have to it's like one slide on the big data. I just want to read some of the statistical information on this particular thing. More than 2.3 billion people use internet today, and that reflects 30% of the population. So even when we are saying as a cloud computing, we are preparing ourselves not only for doing the business together more efficiently, more effectively, and we have agility of the business, and also we will save the cost. If for a customer cost is the factor, yes, cost can be saved, and value will be added at the same time. When I am saying cost, of course there is a value. Cost is a component of value. But for some organizations, yes, cost may not be the value. Customer satisfaction is the value. Yes, that can be achieved. So it depends what are the priorities of the customer, what are the priorities for the business. So those things can be achieved. So the other one, by 2015, mobile devices alone will generate 6.3 exabyte of data, and which is 26 times more than as of today. That's the statistical information. And in 10 years, IT will collect, only our data centers will collect 140 terabyte of data. And you see the beauty about the data center. We are saying at one time that the data center is shrinking, and at the same time, all the businesses, 83% of the businesses, they are ready to invest on the data centers. So are we expanding the data center, or we are shrinking the data center? Yes, we are expanding the flexibility, we are expanding the computing power, but at the same time we are shrinking the data center. Even I'm talking about the private cloud, and that's my focus actually. You see, before, when we used to see data center, it used to be very huge and big, and I was talking about, we are now in the mainframe age, but with only one small change. Not as big as the data center which we used to see before, not as big as the mainframe computer used to be before, not as big as the storage it used to be before. And that's the optimization and that's the transformation has happened already as of today. So the building has shrunk to a floor and the floor has shrunk to a room. And the room has shrunk to a cabinet, believe me. And Muhammad was saying the same thing. If you as a business, if you host everything onto the cloud, basically you just need, even no matter how big your business is, you just need few cabinets to host your communication devices. That's all. And to access your application, you really not need to have your own desktops with lot of connectivities, projectors, things like that. You just need maybe few tablets, maybe something else will come, who knows? Maybe an iPhone, maybe Samsung Galaxy or something like that, which is efficient to have connectivity. And for having a connectivity, you just need one great thing in your device, just one great thing. And that great thing is a browser. Any device which can run a browser, you are part of the cloud. You are a client of the cloud. And that's what, even your embedded system, whether you talk about your cars or whatever, if it has a browser, it has the capability to understand an IP address. And believe me, I remember, what is his name? His name was something, I don't remember actually. He's considered to be a father of internet. Some surfed something. So he's considered to be a father of internet because he has developed a protocol called TCP/IP, along with another gentleman called Bob Hahn in 1980s. And that time, he recently in one of his interview to Times of India, he said, maybe that was like 10 days before in the newspaper, he said, in 1980s, the time when he is the one who has invented the TCP/IP protocol, he said, there was nothing called cloud, there was nothing called network at that time, and we only have one thought, that there is a PC, and that PC has to have a unique ID, and we came up with a connectivity between the two PCs. So internet is nothing but connectivity between two PCs. So of course it is not just two PC. This is how it starts. One PC is connected to the other, another is connected to the third one is to the million is to the billion. This is how we reach to the 2.3 billion as of today. So so again I will maybe, again I was on the big data actually. So there are different business drivers. There are drivers which is pulling the data. There is plenty of data which is being driven from the different, from the IT, from non-IT, from electrical appliances, and from other devices like such as telescope and things like that. And in one of the study, I saw one of the telescope, yes, in 2016, a new telescope will collect 140 terabyte of data in every 5 years. And don't forget, what data centers has generated the data in 10 years by the IT was 140 terabyte. And the same equivalent of that data will be generated by one telescope. Of course, the telescope has to be modern, very modern and things like that. And that one. So we are talking about huge data. So that mass data, of course you can say as a buzzword again, but there are tools in order to really expedite exponentially to compute. And what I know recently, like Oracle, they came up with the exabyte, and SAP, they came up with the SAP HANA. Those are like analytical, and there will be so many will be coming up. And I think Oracle, they came up with what you call accelerator for the big data, things like that. So the big data is gonna come and it is gonna be there. So we need to have those kind of tools which generates a lot of data. So when you are talking about the big data, we are talking about an unstructured data or the raw data, and I'm talking about a semi-structured data, and I'm talking about a cleansed data where you can make the decisions, things like that. So that was about, so the cloud is not just about computing what you have as of today, the service. There is a plenty of information is there. You have to compute in order to retain yourself in the business. Either you stay or you don't stay. There is no third choice for you. So there are social media, it came up. If you see, I think Gartner, he has categorized the fourth category we call public cloud, private cloud, and hybrid cloud. But the Gartner, I think, is the only company who say there is a social cloud. So social media, where you talk about Facebook, Twitter, and things like that, where you have plenty of data, and there are people. I myself generate more than 10 giga of data every month. So how about there are people who are fully dedicated themselves in social activities. So they are releasing and they are generating a lot of data, and that data is shared across the different regions. So we need to be ready to understand what it is, and the cloud is the right tool which makes you ready for the big data for the future. Maybe this is not the time actually. I just came up, since I have been alerted like 5 minutes, so I'm just trying to, In this, basically, what I'm trying to do, people are talking about the cloud like that. Yes, IBM has their own cloud, somebody has their own cloud, Amazon, they have their own cloud, things like that. And all cloud has their own way, there are different APIs. There is no common standard, there is no common protocol which will allow you to connect all together. So the retention of knowledge, the retention of the interface what you have been using, it is not common. Everybody have their own way. Again, you have to go to somebody third. He is providing the middle tier tools or framework which will allow you to connect to the different clouds again. So actually, instead of facilitating, there is a little confusion, what I believe. Although from the consumer point of view, yes, the cloud is very complex infrastructure which is placed somewhere onto the sky, but at the same time, we have to know, there should be something in common. I remember Microsoft when they came up with a .NET framework. The .NET framework, the first time when they came up, they came with a beautiful tool called Visual Studio. And that Visual Studio, yes, you will say now, yes, what is the new thing about it? But in that one, they provide you one rapid application development environment where you as a Visual Basic developer, you can use the same interface, where you as a C++, you can use the same interface, so on. Different languages, but the same platform, same interface. So we need to have something like that. So what basically the objective for this particular, I will just spend like a couple of minutes on this, and I think I'm gonna be finished. So what I'm saying, we don't need to reinvent the wheel. We just need to take what is good from the methodologies, from the different frameworks. And one of our gentlemen, he showcased 3, which is PMI and ITEL, and the third one was COBIT. 3 things. But here I'm talking about like 8 to 9 methodologies and frameworks, where we need to take the good from each methodology, whether it's about the risk management, it is about the compliance, whether it's about meeting the project timelines, whether it's about the scoping, things like that. And we need to really have a clear plan where we can really reach to the cloud. So quickly, of course, as you can understand, this is very explanatory. Define goals and orchestrate a typical cloud-ready architecture. Whatever your data center, you just think it's a cloud only. And try to orchestrate in a way based on your priorities, based on your needs, based on your strategic objectives, what you have for your organization. And IT has to go in two directions, from top to down, business and IT. IT comes from down to up, and the business comes from from top to down. You have a business objective, strategic objectives, maybe for a group of company. Yes, this is your objective, this is your target for a particular business, and the business again, they translated that particular target to a department, and that department, they know what are the services or what are the functions they are delivering. And IT will really exploit positively by providing all the required tools. So we have done the same thing. So there are objectives, strategic objectives, and we have and those objectives, the vice president and the chairman, he will just put down, these are my objectives. I want to grow geographically, I want to grow financially, I want to introduce new product range for the electronic sector, things like that. And we as an IT, we provide the tool, how those objectives can be achieved and what will be the weightage for each particular objective. So those kind of things. So again, we need to prepare what we have in terms of a typical cloud ready architecture. If you are a new organization, that's well and good. Believe me, that is the great thing, because you don't need to really carry forward any legacy application or line of business applications or anything old and junk. You just go, and this is the right time for you to make an investment. And the cloud solution provider or vendor, they are very happy because it's like a new line for them to make the revenue. But at the same time, we as a consumer, yes, it's an opportunity for us to align, to pay as we need, and to save the cost as well. And of course, time to market is one of the things. So I'm trying not to use those terms which has been used already in different sessions today. So again, we are saying simplifying. You do assessment and you try to simplify whatever the hardware you have. Maybe there is one device which will really make you flatten all your physical devices, all your routers, switches, things like that. And that will really help you to really administer. And again, we are talking about the capacity, sustainability and growth. What is our target? What are our plans? What do we have the plan in terms of the strategic objective? And what is the growth is expected? Yes, there has to be some tangible plan we need to come up. And again, automation and integration. If you really want to take the benefit, of course you have to see what you can automate in order to have like self-service provisioning, things like that. And we have to integrate whatever possible today. Before we actually make an investment, there is a lot of homework need to be done. So there is a responsibility, we as a customer, from ourselves, and there is a responsibility from the government, there is a responsibility. So everybody have to do their role in order to make the cloud successful. And that's what I'm just trying to say. Again, those are, the other things. And I will just talk about the number 8. I'm also a project management practitioner. I strongly believe on the PMI, although there are other methodologies, but this is what I practice. And also at the same time, when you talk about the business, we are talking about a business process. So any business has to have a documented business process where you can look into it and you see how you can optimize the business, and then the same thing will be transferred to the IT. So there is a strategic plan, and from that strategic plan, you will translate to the IT plan. IT strategies has to be developed, and also the marketing strategies has to be developed. And these are the, talking about we need to develop open standards and infrastructure and applications, so on, things like that. And this is what it takes. It really helps you to transform. And that's what I have today. Yes, thanks a lot.